Okay, we're going to create our digital portfolio. And so in my shed file, for example, I'm going to go to my sheets, and first I'll go to the schedule. So I'll open up that. And my schedule I'm going to turn into an image so that I can save this to my portfolio. So I'm going to go up to the R and go to Export. And I want to go to Images and Animations. And if you don't see this up, then you may need to go down here to the bottom of your list. So just scroll until you find Images and Animations, and I'm going to save this as an image. And I'm going to make sure that I'm saving this to the right place first of all. And this one is my schedules, so I'm going to name this one Shed Schedules. And I'm going to use the following settings. I've already set these up, but yours is going to be on Fit To, but you want to change this to Zoom To, and zoom it to 100. So just highlight this number and put in 100. And we're going to use JPEG Lossless and JPEG Lossless for our shadows and our shaded views. And for our raster image quality, we're going to use 72. And go ahead and make sure that current window is selected, and it's going to make this one into an image. And it's going to go to this directory. I'm going to highlight this directory. This is just for me. I'm going to copy this so I can jump to it and make sure that it's there. Hit OK. So now I'm going to go into my shed folder, and there's my shed schedules.jpg. I'm going to open that up. And there it is. Very nice. I'm going to close that. And I'm going to do that for the rest of my drawings as well, my title blocks. So renderings I'm going to open up. There's my renderings. I'm going to go up here and go to Export, Images and Animations, and go to Image. All of these settings have not changed, so I'm just going to keep it like that. However, I do want to change the name of the file. So instead of this, I'm going to name this one Renderings, and hit OK. And I'm going to go to my elevations, and yours should have all the elevations. I only have the first two from the tutorial, but you should have 4 elevations on here. I'm going to come up here and go to Export, Images and Animations, Image, and I'm going to change this one to Elevations. All of the settings, make sure that they're the same, but they should be because you just changed them and they stay changed until you restart Revit. Hit OK. Now we're going to actually create our portfolio. So I'm going to go down to my Start button, and I'm going to type InDesign, all one word, INDESIGN, and you should find Adobe InDesign. So go ahead and open up Adobe InDesign, and this is what you're going to see. So I'm going to go to Create New Document. This window will pop up. I'm going to uncheck Facing Pages, and the orientation, I'm going to make it Landscape. So the width should be 66p and the height should be 51p. No facing pages. Click OK. So here is my page. This is page 1. Now over here on the right you have your pages. Go ahead and open that up. And we've got page 1 right here. And if I click this button, I can add pages to my document. So every time you click, you're going to have a new page. And right now I'm on page 4. So if I want to go back to page 1, I have to double click 1. Now I'm on page 1. On page 1, we are going to create a title. So I'm going to grab my text tool, the T right here, and I'm going to draw a box, making sure that I stay in this pinkish purplish line here. And my cursor is up here in the top left-hand corner. I'm going to change this to centered view, and I'm going to hit enter a few times so that I'm roughly in the middle of my page. And I'm also going to increase the font size. So I'm going to use 30 font, and you can change the font style as well, and you can make it bold if you'd like. but just something that's very readable. So I'm going to type my name, the school's name, whoops, architecture and engineering, 2013-2014. So this will be my title page. This next page, page 2, which I double clicked on, and if I go back to page 1, there's page 1. So I'm going to have my next page, page 2, be my table of contents. So I'm going to have my text tool again, and I'm actually going to draw one box that's roughly this size, and I'm going to center it again, and I'm going to increase this size again. I'm going to just use 30 points again, and I'm going to type table of contents, and I'm going to do it in capital letters. Okay, click on my, I'm just going to go over here and click on my select tool, this red, black arrow. That's just going to deselect my text box. And I'm going to grab my text tool again, and I'm going to draw another text box, oops, below table of contents. And this is where the actual contents are going to be. So I want the table of contents to have a little bit larger font, so I'm going to choose 14 point for this one. It's a good number. And the very first table of contents entry we're going to have is going to be called shed. Whoops, I had caps lock on. Shed. And I want to put whatever page shed's going to be on. And shed is actually going to take up a few pages. So we're going to create a format for this shed here. And in order to do that, we need to have paragraph styles up. So I'm going to go up to Window, and I'm going to go to Styles, and I'm going to choose Paragraph Styles, which is right there. Okay, right now we're using Basic Paragraph, but I'm actually going to create a different style for my table of contents. And so I'm going to click this little button here that creates a new style. And this style, I'm going to double click it, and I'm going to name this one Table of Contents. And I'm going to change a couple of things about this. I'm going to change the basic character, and I'm going to make sure that it's 14 point Minion Pro, which is what we were on, but you can choose a different font if you'd like. And I'd like you to use a font that's somewhere between 14 and 20 points in size. Nothing too large. Then I'm going to go to Tabs, and I'm going to put a right align tab here. There's a bunch of arrows here. I'm going to put this right align tab, and I'm going to put it over on 30. So I'm going to make it 30p 0. So I'm just going to put a 0 in there. So yours should be at 30p 0. And for leader, we're basically going to put a bunch of periods in between our word and the page number. So for the leader, I'm going to type period, space, and then I'm going to hit OK. So this shed here, highlight it, it's table of contents. If I were to highlight this and click basic paragraph, it would go back to basic paragraph. But I want this to be table of contents. Okay? So now that we've done that, and I have my shed typed, I can put the cursor after shed and hit tab, and you'll see that a bunch of periods and spaces went, and now I can type what page this is going to be on. Our shed is taking up 3 pages of our document, but we're also going to have a title for our shed as well. So it's actually going to take 4 pages. Now if I click on my pages up here, I'm on page 2 right now. Page 3 is where our shed is going to start, and that's going to be the title page. And then we're going to have page 4, page 5, and page 6. So we're actually going to have 6 pages so far. Page 1 is our title. Page 2 is our table of contents. Page 3 is our shed title. Page 4 is going to be the first title block of our shed. Page 5 is going to be the next title block of our shed. And page 6 will be the final title block for our shed. So, right now, our shed is going to be on pages 3, 4, 5, and 6. So right here, I'm going to put 3-6. So now I know that the shed is going to be on pages 3 of 6. And I've actually decided that this font is a little bit too small. I'm going to increase this font a little bit. So I'm going to go up to Paragraph Styles, double-click Table of Contents, go to Basic Character Formats, and I'm actually going to change this to 18 point and hit OK. And so now my font is increased, and when I go to the next page, or the next space, then I'm going to be able to create another entry. Okay, so on my pages, I'm going to double click 3, and actually this table of contents, we can make another paragraph style for title. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to double click paragraph style 1, and I'm going to name this title. And the basic character formats, Minion Pro is fine. I'm going to put this at 30 point and hit OK. So now whenever I have a title, so if I click this guy, I can click title, and it's going to be this 30 point font. But notice that it jumped over to the left. On my title, I'm going to double click it again, and I'm going to make sure that this is aligned. So on indents and spacing, I'm going to align this center and hit OK. So now all my titles can be centered. So this just makes it easier for us whenever we make a title, that we can just make it centered and the same size every time. So now I'm going to go to Pages, and I'm on page 2 right now, so page 3 is going to be where I'm going to title this shed. So I'm going to double click page 3. I'm already on my text tool, so I'm going to draw a text box here, and I'm going to type shed, and I'm going to go to my paragraph styles, and I'm going to make this a title. But I didn't capitalize it, so I'm going to make sure this is capitalized. Shed. In order to place a title block in here, I'm going to choose the Select tool right here, and I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to make sure that I go to my shed folder. So go to wherever your shed info is, and I've got elevations, renderings, and schedules. I'm actually going to put it in the order of renderings, and then elevations, and then schedules. So I selected page 4. Now I'm going to open up shed renderings, and you're going to see your mouse turn into a little picture or a little thumbnail of your image right here. So I'm going to move this right up to the top left corner of my document, the dark black corner, not the purple pinky corner, but the black one. And I'm going to click, and there is my title block. So now we're going to put on our next title block. So I'm going to scroll down to page 5 and double click it. And I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to do Shed Elevations, open that up. And now I'm going to put this in the top left corner. And I'm going to go to page 6 and go to File, Place, Shed Schedules, and I'm going to place this in the top left corner. So now that I've put all of my title blocks in, I've given my portfolio title, I've got a table of contents, I've got my first title, shed, and I've got the 3 title blocks after for shed. So now I'm ready to save this. So I want you to go to File, Save, and I want you to save this to wherever your architecture folder is. I'm going to just save this to my documents, and I'm going to go down to my shed folder, and I'm going to save this as portfolio and hit save. So now I've saved my portfolio, but this is not the version you're going to turn in. The version you're going to turn in is you're going to go to File, you're going to go to Export, and you're going to have PDF Print. So if you're on Interactive, change it to Print. And you can also save this as Portfolio, but at the beginning, you're going to name it with your period number. So if I was in period 6, I would type 6 underscore, and then I would type my last name, or I'll capitalize it, underscore my first name, underscore portfolio. And then this is the file that you're actually going to turn in. Period number, underscore last name, underscore first name, underscore portfolio. I'm going to save this to shed. This dialog box is going to show up. Under compression, you can do average downsampling to 200 pixels per inch, and then for images above 300 pixels per inch. I believe that these are going to be 300 and 450, so you can change them to 200 and 300, and then hit export. Now I'm going to go to my shed folder, and I've got my portfolio right here in PDF form, named correctly. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to make sure that everything's all good. So far I've got my title page, and then on page 2 I've got table of contents and the contents. On page 3 I've got my title for shed, and then I've got my rendering here, my elevations here, and my schedules here. So this is all ready to turn in. So make sure you turn in the PDF, but always save your portfolio as an InDesign, because you're going to add projects to the portfolio as you go. So you're going to keep adding stuff to this as you go throughout the year.